Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Ruchakodash, and double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Alright? Hey, GMS is not affiliated with any so-called black, them Israelite groups who call themselves Black Hebrew Israelites, or we are not affiliated with any gangs or guns or anything like that. We all we do is just preach the words of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. Alright? Hey, and this here is I'm one from the Great Millstone Camp in Trinidad, and I'll just go and play this video here.
A story about a 14-year-old boy named Alexander who visited a Six Flags amusement park in Illinois on a school trip. So Alexander was asked to scan his thumb, his thumb into one of those biometric data capture system things, that we use sometimes. His thumbprint allowed him to get into the park and continue to be a season pass holder, right? The park hadn't got any consent from Alexander or his parents. He was 14 years old, after all. And they have no written policy made available to the public explaining what their process is for keeping or for destroying his very private biometric information. Michelle Greenstein's been looking at this story today. It's got all the way to the Supreme Court, interestingly enough. So, goes to the Supreme Court. What did they decide?
Right, so it went to the Illinois State Supreme Court, and this has to do with an interpretation of an Illinois state law called the Biometrics Identification Privacy Act. This was passed in 2008, and this imposes restrictions on private companies about how they can collect and retain and maybe even destroy any biometric identifiers that they take from you. Now, the Illinois Supreme Court ruled that you have standing to sue even if you cannot prove that you have an actual injury. So the Illinois state law says that any aggrieved person has standing to sue. This had to do with an interpretation of the term aggrieved. Now, what's interesting about this case is that the Illinois State Supreme Court is reading the law differently than other courts have in the past, including the Seventh Circuit, which is the federal court that covers Illinois. So the Seventh ruled that the term aggrieved denotes some kind of injury. Now, the Illinois Supreme Court says it does not. So we will probably see eventually this case go to the U.S. Supreme Court.
All right, so it bounces back and forth between all of these courts, and who knows who's influencing them. But let me ask maybe a more important question. All right, what is the prevalence of this? What is the possibility that this could be happening to me without my even knowing it, by the way?
Right, so that this is going to the U.S. Supreme Court is quite important because private companies are already on their way to using a range of technical tools, of course, in the name of increased revenue. We have Google developing 3D facial recognition. Apple already has their own Face ID. Facebook's artificial intelligence facial recognition software passed tests with near human-level accuracy. And then we have things like Walgreens Smart Coolers that literally scan your face to learn more about their customers, and they monitor what your eye is drawn to. So, of course, this is all for increased profits, but eventually what we're going to have is everyone's fingerprints, iris, retina scans are going to be tied to every transaction they ever make. So, of course, there are a number of concerns here. One is that this is personal information. What could be done private, right? But even if you did trust these companies, this makes us very susceptible to hacks. And, of course, there's another concern, which is that subtle psychological messaging that use of this technology gives us, especially to kids, that to gain access to knowledge or money, because there are payment systems that use biometric identifiers, food, travel, any sort of item or activity, you have to hand over your privacy. So what we're really seeing is the normalization of a cashless society and the normalization of the extinction of privacy.
And some of that may actually be good from the standpoint of how accessible and how easy it is to live our lives. Some of it, as you point out from the standpoint of privacy, is not good.
For sure.
And the bottom line is this, right? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Nothing that involves our children should we be giving consent without our knowledge.
Exactly, and the bottom line is that there should be a public debate. We already know that the FBI has a database that involves over a third of the U.S. Adult population. In addition to the U.S., there are numerous countries with some sort of biometric identification grid that I know of. Let's take a look at this list of countries. This is an extensive list, and this is only the countries that I was able to find today. So this is everything from passports, border security systems, some other form of ID cards, and What we're really seeing is that we are handing over our biological information, knowledge about our physical characteristics to these state actors, and whether or not we trust them or not. Let's say we totally trust the government to use this information only, to fight crime or to, normalize things. The fact is that this makes us very susceptible to hackers.
Oh, that's a good report. Well done. I'll tell you what, very complete. Thank you so much for sharing. This is information that we all need.
Hey, YouTube, thanks for...
One Arkansas lawmaker is looking to get ahead of an emerging technology. Representative Stephen Meeks wants to pass the first law in the U.S. regulating microchip implants in people. Some companies, both in the U.S. and worldwide, actually microchip their employees. It allows them to do things like open doors, log on to computers, even buy snacks from vending machines, as you saw in the video. Meeks' bill would allow companies to offer microchips to employees, but not force them to use them.
And the idea here is to set the ground rules before the technology comes to our state to protect workers.
The legislation also requires the company to pay to remove the implant if an employee leaves.
I don't think I want to be microchipped.
This is 2019, the year of charagma. Alright? Hey, you see how much brothers from GMS are past Arkansas microchip bill. And there's only GMS, they think Kwada Shapat, Chabai, brother Kwada Shapat, they. Brother GMS Awakening, GMS Aparium, the hopeful Ephraimite. Well, I know if Steve Fletcher know anything about the truth. GMS KC Prophets, GMX for the Lexic, the Hawasha is rising. Sure again. Holding firm until the end, brother Kwasha from Barbados. GMS Watchmen. Great Millstone Babylon is finished. The Falling of Babylon. Only GMS brothers jump on this thing. Alright? GMS Atlanta. So you're seeing, when it comes to prophecy, Great Millstone have it, bro. But hey, the point is, you saw the girl on RT News. Alright, you saw she talking about, hey, the name of that video. Matter of fact, I didn't say the name of that video. The name of that video was, let me find the name of that video. The name of that video was
A story about a 14-year-old boy.
Coming Cashless Society revealed by boys case at Six Flags. Coming Cashless Society. The peak of a cashless society is a RFID microchip in your hand. To buy and sell. That's why Arkansas want to pass that law to microchip employees. Alright? Put it in humans. And they're going to make it a mandatory thing. Okay? When the days reach. Because that is the peak. That is the peak of a cashless society, a RFID microchip. Revelation chapter 13 verse 16 says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. This mark is that RFID microchip. It's not no friggin' Christianity. It's not no embargo. It's not no philosophy that the so-called white man teach we. It's none of them things. It is that RFID microchip. The word mark come from the Greek Strong's G5480 charagma. Charagma, that is what we're going on to say.
Strong's G5480 charagma. Charagma.
And it means a stamp. This is the year of charagma. an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the foreheads or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the anti-Messiah. The mark branded upon horses. All those things are physical marks. Okay? That is physical marks. Putting on something physical or tangible. That is what charagma mean. And the mark is that microchip where they're sticking in your right hand. Or either in your forehead. These devils going and get ready to push this thing. You have debit card, MasterCard, Visa card. You have phone payments. You have all kind of payments that diverting away from cash. But the ultimate form to the so-called white man of a cashless society is you having an RFID tag in your hand or in your forehead where they could tag your every move, and on top of that you could use it for money. Okay? These people very serious about the plan. They're going ahead with it. And to all you who sleeping and doubting the so-called white man, you keep doubting the so-called white man. You keep doubting him. Hey, the nigga had belly enough to put you in slavery. You're talking about that nigga who did extensive research on how to throw down a nation of people. He would have must know that, hey, every time I touch these people, something will happen. Something that's happened to people who touch these people. That's me touch them people now. He didn't care. He still come and touch me. That is how fucking mad the nigga is. So you keep doubting the so-called white man and the crazy thoughts in his head. The kind of crazy thoughts he does have. Keep doubting him. He coming with this microchip, eh? And it go and happen in the time at Jacob's shovel when the hour temptation. It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So, hey, you just heard the man say them chips could be used for buying things what in a vending machine. Them thing is the instrument for buying and selling. Alright? And what the scripture say, the love of money is the root of all evil. That go and be the new money, and who love money, them go and take the chip. And it go and pierce them. Because we love our money, they go and do an evil thing. They go and take that microchip because they had to eat that. They continue living the life that they was living while they was on the earth. So they will do the wicked thing. Okay? You go ahead and do the wicked thing. You stand on the side of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Right? It says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 3 square and 6, and that is the so-called white man weighs. Alright, what I mean he weighs, the vibration he does push on the earth. Left hand sinister vibration. Alright? High size stigma. That is the number. And a stigma is something that has been put on you. That sticks on you. And that chip go and stick on you. You go and go everywhere you go, you're going to have this microchip on you. Microchip ain't going nowhere. Okay? That is stigma that go and be on you. That chip. That is how we saw this rule. He wants us as what? Perpetual slaves. In the wicked kingdom. In the movie Elysium. Show you that. Okay? You keep doubting him now. This devil going to come with this microchip and try and put it in your fucking hand. Put it in you, your children, and your wife, and your mother, and your father, and your... That is what he coming with. So that's why what we had to have in Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, more than ever now in these days is faith. Faith, belief. Yo, despite what? Believe in the Son of God. Throughout him. Because he's coming back and he will do what he say he will do. Okay? And anybody who take that chip, I'll read Revelation 14 verse 9, and it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast or his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And that is what going to go, and it will be destroyed. It will be burned up in Babylon, those who take that RFID microchip by the hands of the serpent, the so-called white man. And with that, I will give all praise to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Ruach HaKodesh. Shalom.